Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Not a whole lot in the news today concerning Iraq, but there was an interesting article discussing the currency, discussing the exchange rate, the negatives and the positives that I'll review with you here in just a moment. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code PIMPYSILVER. Yes, it has changed. PIMPYSILVER. So if you're watching this video and it's an older video, make sure you check on current videos because the code is going to be changing from time to time from now on. Also, I can be found on other platforms. Everybody knows I have my own website, Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I post videos that I can't get away with over on YouTube. Also, I have a group on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. You can also come follow me on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and Odyssey. The links for all these platforms will be down below in the description. So for whatever reason, if I get removed off of one platform, you could find me on the others. Also, for those of you looking for my address, here it is right here. Just pause the video and write it down. And okay, as I was stating, there's not a whole lot going on in the media today. It's like their weekend. Well, it's like their Sunday, I guess is the best way to put it. So let's go ahead and go over this article, Iraq's market report. So the Iraq market report, currency upheavals disrupt market activities, is the title of this particular paragraph, or section, I should say. The market as measured by the Rabi Securities USD index was down 1% for the month and down 3.8% for the year. So the securities overall were only down 3.8% for the year. I mean, I shouldn't say only, because 3.8% is a pretty big chunk. But it could have been a whole lot worse considering everything that was going on over there in Iraq with the politics. For the second month in a row, the decline in the parallel market price, I say parallel because in my other videos, people are like, there's no parallel rates. Yes, there is. The decline in the parallel market's price of the Iraqi Dinar, the IQD, versus the US dollar negatively affected the market's performance. But this month, it went beyond exaggerating the market's decline by reversing the index 0.7% increase in the IQD terms to a decline of 1% for the US dollar terms. So for the most part over the year, they did pretty decent. We know this because of all the oil sales. But the last 2 months have been very rocky for the IQD only because of all of the speculation that's out there. There's a lot of people that want to keep the Iraqi dinar unstable, and they did a pretty good job of rocking the boat. I think people are starting to wake up to this trick, or maybe not. We're going to find that out at the beginning of this next year. Putting the currency decline over the last 2 months into perspective, for the year, the index was down 0.8% in IQD terms and down 3.8% in USD terms. You always want the Iraqi dinar to rise against the US dollar. The volatility of the currency during the month dampened trading activities in the ISX. The index at year end is just under the low end of its 32-month uptrend chart below. So the stock exchange itself had a 32-month uptrend. If that's what you want, that's good. That means there's an indicator of a healthy economy. It goes on to say, which still supports the market's positive technical picture as discussed here in the past few months. The macroeconomic fundamentals discussed here 7 months ago argued that this uptrend will likely remain in force. However, its upward slope might moderate or even go sideways as the month's action suggests. Sideways means it's horizontal, there's no loss, there's no gain. So the stock market was riding a 32-month high, or I should say is riding a 32-month uptrend. So that's what you want. That usually is an indication of an economy that's strengthening. But I guess it really just matters by how much. It doesn't look like by very much at all, but the fact that it's still in the uptrend is a good sign. These are some of the things that we need to keep an eye on. Soudani going out there and investing into the private and public sectors, creating jobs for the people in Iraq, especially the youth. Again, you were talking about taking people off of government aid and getting them out there, getting jobs and paying taxes. That's exactly what we want and need over in Iraq. This is a 2023 budget proposal expected to be submitted by the government to Parliament in January, with the hope of ratification a couple of months later, in February is what they're talking about. It is expected to provide a catalyst for the market's next move, especially as all indications suggest that it would be another expansionary budget as discussed here a few months ago. So what we're hoping, though, is that the expansion is in investments. That's what you want. Yeah, I think that's going to help the markets stabilize a little bit more. It's going to help the currency stabilize a little more. The fact that there's actually a budget finally out there and people could go ahead and look at the budget and realize what's going on and prepare for 2023. In local currency terms, most of the index constituents were down for the year, with the exception of the Bank of Baghdad, which was up 33%. Now, there's some of us out there that are invested in stocks over there in Iraq. Some of them were up, some of them were down. I think it was pretty much a wash. We know they paid dividends, so I'm not sure what's going on with the dividends as of yet. But we see that the Bank of Baghdad, which was up 33% for the year, Al Mansour Bank, which was up 21.6%, the Karak Tour Amusement Center was flat. The decliners were led by the Al Mansour Pharmaceutical Industries, down 28.5%. Baghdad Soft Drinks, down 23.3%. And Baghdad soft drinks, just so you're aware, like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they just go under the name Baghdad Soft Drinks. The Commercial Bank of Iraq, down 19.4%, which was a little bit surprising to me, but given the fact that there was no stability in the government, I'm sure it was making it really hard for people to trust what was going on, and most likely there wasn't a whole lot of commercial loans going out. Iraq for seed production, down 12.5%. The National Bank of Iraq was down 10.6%. So half the banks were up, the other half seemed to be down. Al-Qaeda of veterinarian vaccines and drugs, down 10.3%. And Asia Sal, down 3.2%. I think Asia Sal, if you take a look at how their stock performs in other countries, especially like over there in Kuwait, they do very well. They're very valuable stocks, and let's hope that's the same thing that happens over there in Iraq. So this goes on to talk about all the dividends that went out. You can see right here, it says Rabi Securities noted that 21 out of the ISX 103 listed companies declared cash dividends with dividend yields at the time of the announcement in a range of 0.6% and 18.4%. Yeah, that's definitely the one you want to have, with an average dividend yield of 4.3% and a medium dividend yield of 2.8%. So what does that mean for the currency, the Iraqi Dinar? So the Central Bank of Iraq, as part of an ongoing process of encouraging the move towards the adoption of banking and away from the informality that dominated economic activities, implemented in mid-November new requirements to those for its provisioning of U.S. dollars for imports. These requirements would bring the country's cross-border fund transfers in line with the global standards that require a high level of transparency. However, they represent a seismic shift to the country's cash-dominated economy, in which large informal sectors drive the bulk of the economic activities. In other words, with all the transparency, it's going to make it a little bit harder to commit fraud, to do some real legal things. But also, this is them getting in line with this whole New World Order movement, which is the new SWIFT 2.0 system. As such, the introduction of the new regulations had immediate detrimental effect on the volumes of CBI daily U.S. dollar Iraqi dinar transactions for cross-border fund transfers. The decreased volumes versus the continued high demand for the U.S. dollar to satisfy the needs for import led to increases in the market price of the exchange rate of the U.S. dollar versus the IQD. So that needs to change. We need to reverse that. That just means more people are doing transactions in U.S. dollars when Iraq should do something about making other people use their local currency. Initially, the increase in November was 2.9%, but as the U.S. dollar Iraqi Dinar transaction volumes continued to decline, the increases in the exchange rate worsened with the onset of the holiday season, with an intra-day peak increase of around 6%, just after Christmas, with the ensuing panic amplified by misconceptions, rumors, and misinformation. That's what I was talking about. People out there, speculators, starting rumors, talking about the change in Iraqi dinar exchange rate. And because of all these rumors, it affects the market. So the CBI, in response, introduced a number of measures to calm the markets and to further the adoption of the bank, such as lowering the commissions for U.S. dollar purchases from 10 to 5 basis points. 10 to 5 basis points, what are you talking about here? You're talking about 1% to 0.5% is what that is. Importers who use letters of credit, for importers of goods and services, and for individuals who use bank cards for the USD purchases for travel needs instead of cash. Other welcome measures introduced by the Central Bank of Iraq were terminating its reports to the customers and the tax authorities on all U.S. dollar transfers for imports. In the past, these reports paradoxically increased economic informality given the outdated procedures and bureaucratic nightmares of the customs and tax authorities. The combination of the CBI's measures eased the market's panic somewhat, and the market price of the U.S. dollar versus the IQD ended the month with an increase of 2.4%. These dynamics can be seen in the charts below. The first half represents the volumes of the central bank daily U.S. dollar to IQD transactions. Banks transfer to facilitate the imports of goods and services as indicated by the green bar, and to satisfy the need for physical U.S. dollars for Iraqi traveling abroad as indicated by the dark maroon bars. While the second half represents the official exchange rate of the U.S. dollar versus the IQD, which is the dark gray line, the market price of the U.S. dollar versus the IQD, the dark maroon line, and the premiums of the market price for the USD to IQD exchange rate versus the official rate is the delta or green line. That's not going to make any sense to anybody. So this is going in the wrong direction. We don't want these lines to go up. We want them to actually go down. The lower this number goes, the better it is for us. So yeah, the end of the year was not so good for the Iraqi dinar just because of all the speculations, rumors, people out there purposely going out of their way to destabilize the currency and the country. And it affected the economy. And the fact that they didn't have a budget and they just barely got a government, and they had to get the government established. So now the government's there and we can get the budget going and hopefully approved by February. That should calm a lot of people's nerves. And from there, we should see some positive movement with the IQD. Anyways, that's it for now, you guys. Let me know what you think. I look forward to your comments, and I will catch you later. I'm out.